so happy to be joined by Hogan Gidley. So good to see you. Always a pleasure. You have been very busy lately. You've been in South Carolina. South Carolina primaries tomorrow.
It is.
And you've been hitting the ground, boots on the ground, stomping for President Trump. Let's talk about that.
I have. I do not work for the campaign, but I was executive director of the South Carolina Republican Party in 2008. I've been a resident for about 20 years. I know it very well. And I felt it was incumbent upon me as someone who knew Nikki when she was my governor, who worked closely with Donald Trump in some of the toughest times this country has ever faced, both domestically and internationally, to go down there and just kind of get a feel for what the people were thinking and also share my stories about the former president and all the work he was able to accomplish on behalf of the American people and the record-setting success and record-setting time for those regardless of race, religion, color, or creed. And I was struck by several things on the ground. The support for Donald Trump is huge. It is unwavering. But at the same time, the anger toward Nikki kind of shocked me a little bit because they don't like that she said she wouldn't run and then she did.
Right.
They don't like that she's courting Democrats through Democrat billionaire dollars to try and get those people to vote for her. They don't like the old establishment, the corporatist, the elitist, the globalist wing of the Republican Party, which they believe Nikki represents. And so just watching that and hearing that, I really was kind of shocked about it. And look, politics is very interesting, as you know. That's kind of a worthless statement because it is, everyone knows that, but it is fascinating to see someone like Nikki Haley who, look, there's a difference between being embarrassed and being humiliated. She was embarrassed in Iowa, embarrassed in New Hampshire. She was humiliated in Nevada by an empty box that said none of the above, and now she's about to be humiliated in South Carolina, losing 30 points in her home state. And when she sat on the stage, she set the bar in New Hampshire after that election and said, now we go to South Carolina. They know me best there. No one can lie about me there. They know my record. They love me. And then she goes there and loses by 30 points. All the statewide elected office holders, one of whom in Tim Scott she appointed to that position, are all supporting Donald Trump. I just don't see why she's doing that.
I don't get it. Like, I cannot fathom or understand why she's still in this race. And like you just said, it's a complete embarrassment. And yeah, Nevada, you lost to none of the above candidates, and then you're coming to your home state, the very next one, and you're losing by double digits. And everyone we talked to, Hogan, seriously, everyone I've talked to here at CPAC that are from South Carolina said that they didn't even approve of her as a governor. And so I'm really not sure what she's doing.
Yeah, look, it's far be it for me to tell anyone it's time to get out. I can tell you when to get in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we really do need to be focused our money, our resources, our time, our energy on Joe Biden and getting him out of the Oval Office. And any minute you spend having to deal with Nikki Haley at this point, I believe is a real problem, and I think we should focus on something else.
Yeah. Let's talk about election integrity. A lot of states are early voting right now. March 5th, Super Tuesday is coming up. Those states are early voting. A lot of people are scared to early vote. They think there might be some cheating involved.
Yeah, sure. And look, I understand the trepidation. I mean, we've seen instances of illegalities and fraud and anomalies and irregularities for years. I remember people always try to say it's us who question elections. I mean, in 2016, when Trump won, it was your patriotic duty to question the outcome of that election. In fact, if you didn't, you somehow worked for Vladimir Putin. That's what they told us. And so it was Hillary Clinton who called Donald Trump illegitimate, like a few weeks ago. Like, this isn't old. Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader in the House, also called him an illegitimate president. Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary. So I guess they're all election deniers then. These are the types of things we've had to fight for a long time. But I will tell you, at the America First Policy Institute, and I'm the vice chair of the Center for Election Integrity, we've been able to pass some really significant legislation in about 32 states that go to protect every legal vote and every legal voter. It's not nowhere where it needs to be yet. But the fact is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And what we've been training people to do in these states is be there and learn how to be a poll watcher. Go to your state party. Let them train you to be a poll worker. We need eyes in the room. We need video cameras. We used to think these things were happening. You'd hear about them just here and there. Now we actually see them because you can take your phone and record things. These are the ways you get involved. These are the ways you prevent that type of fraud, because a lot of people, look, if you know someone's watching, you're less likely to commit that crime or that act.
Right, and we talk about that. We hit on it hard, Hogan. go be a poll watcher.
Yes.
We need the more eyes that are there, the better this upcoming election cycle. America First Policy Institute, let's talk about that organization and how vital a role it plays, especially this year in 2024.
Sure. One of the things we were looking to do is prepare for a next term of President Trump. And of course, that didn't happen. It didn't happen the way we wanted it to. So what we did was we kind of collected some of our thoughts and our talent and said, what are we going to do with all these cabinet secretaries who are pushing America First policies? What are we going to do with senior staffers like myself who push these America First policies? We should really have a place for them to go and push out the policies that impacted people's lives for the better, and have people who were involved in our organization that were in the room when the President of the United States made decisions. It was completely unique. And so we have 9 former cabinet secretaries, maybe even 12 at this point, 40 senior staffers. And what we are doing is educating the public about the importance of good policy, the good results that follow, the bad policies and the bad results that follow. I'm sure the people at CPAC want good things implemented for our nation, but you don't do that unless you win elections. So we're teaching them about why it matters to get out there and vote, why it matters that the policy put in place that you want gets put in place. And so it's very important work that we're doing over there, and I really have been blessed to be a part of it, just a small part of it. But I have to admit, I was kind of embarrassed when I went to the White House. I didn't realize how much policy mattered. And when I saw us start to implement policy that secured our border and brought down crime, low numbers of human trafficking and child smuggling and drugs, now it's all broken. The economy was great and it's broken. You realize how much that policy matters. And so educating people on that, it reminds them, hey, when it's time to go vote and do something political, because we're a 501c3, we don't advocate, we educate, although we have a C4 arm that can do that. We just teach them, here are the policies, remember how it was under those policies, now go forth and prosper.
America First Policy Institute. If you haven't heard about it, look it up, get involved, and yeah, that's definitely a great organization to know about. Hogan, so good to see you. Thanks for everything that you're doing, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much.
We'll be right back here on Right Side Broadcasting Network.